Hi, my name is Ricardo Turullols-Bonilla. I go with the name of Ricardo. I'm running for the 3rd District City Council. They changed the law. Before it used to be as large, which meant that you had to do campaign all over Austin. Now it's 10-1, single district, which means you have to live in the district if you want to run in the district. I personally live behind Linder Elementary, which is between Parker and Burleson, 78741. I moved in there about close to 5 years ago when it was still affordable. Now it's gone crazy. In any case, I'm a high school science teacher. I teach at Gardner-Betts. Gardner-Betts is a juvenile detention center or justice. It's behind Bank of America by H.B. Oldtorf. I teach middle school and high school science. And by that, I mean literally I teach those, meaning the following, that in each class, they're stacked up. I get 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, like in a country town school, back in the old days. 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, biology, chemistry, physics, and IPC. It's a county configuration, and we, district, we provide service in the county configuration. But that's not the problem. Kids there took poor choices, some of them are dropouts, but they still have to go to school. They still have to learn science. And the challenge is, how do you teach science under these conditions? But remember that everything in life, challenges are just left brain part of it. The flip side is the right brain, the opportunity. And the whole idea is, how do you move from the challenge, which this stacked up configuration poses, and the at-risk kids, how do you change it into at-promise kids and an opportunity? How? Well, that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, I must have spent 10,000 hours writing, researching, and writing these 6 books. Many things I found. And I found the triads. The triads idea, I didn't discover the triads. The Pythagoreans discovered it. I just found it. The triad idea means 3 in 1. This is the book where I talk about the triads. The pre-Socratic origins of dialogical science. I mean dialogical science because the science that we teach today is math-driven, it's just left brain. That's why kids hate it. And it has to be whole brain. Science has to be a balance between philosophy and mathematics. That's what science is. It's a triad. And science, we are beings of science, okay? So the way we are, that's how science should be. That's how it should be taught. So then I did a research, and I'm convinced that the triad, the original triad by Pythagoreans or by Pythagoras, what we have today is the Pythagorean theorem, which is the down version of the original one. Education does dumbing down very often, okay? So don't be surprised. So in any case, triad means 3 in 1. Let me give you an example. Family. Family is 1, yes, but it's made up of mom, dad, and child. We are one, yes, but we're body, mind, and spirit. And this relationship of body, mind, and spirit permeates everything. And if you turn it into a useful tool, which that's my merit, because I didn't discover anything, I just found it, okay? And my merit, if any, is having turned it into a useful tool. From something that was forgotten, that fell out of use, into something that is very useful. That's very important. So what I do here is I turn it into a useful tool. So the city, how does it apply to the city? Well, it applies to the city in that the city is also a triad. Made up of what? It's made up of neighborhood, which is the body part. It's made up of education, which is the mind part. And it's made up of people like you and me, okay, which is the spirit part, the living part. And what does that mean? Well, that means that you need to address, if you want to solve the problems of the neighborhoods, you have to address the issues that education has and the concerns that individual people have in their heart as well. In other words, you have to look at the whole ball of wax. It's not like before. If you do it like before, that only the council does, traffic and education does, math and science, and the congregations do whatever they do in congregations, you're going to have a broken city. And that's what we have right now, a broken city. Broken in the sense that all the pieces, the 3 pieces, the main pieces, are all over the place. They do not make a whole. You will say, well, does it have to be like that? Well, this is the thing. I came to Austin back in the 60s. It was transitioning from a small town to something a bit medium sized, but it was still medium. And things, when they're small, they tend to fall into place by themselves somehow, all right? But when the pace gets started, oh, by the way, I was here in Austin right on time for the tower shooting. You know, bad timing. But anyway, when things get too fast or too big, you cannot rely on luck, okay? On just things falling on themselves. You gotta put science to it. You have to recover common sense. You have to use common sense, but to use common sense, you have to recover common sense. You say, well, we all have common sense, but it has been corrupted. And you have to thank these two guys here, Plato and Aristotle, for the corruption of science. This way of either or, either this or that way of thinking. How do you correct it? We have to unlearn the either or, and we have to learn the both and. The both means spirit, body, and the mind of Socrates. We have to relearn it. Once we relearn common sense, we'll be well on our way of fixing the city. Why? Because we'll be thinking in terms of triads. That everything is made up of three, but the three has to be reconstituted into a whole on a daily basis, okay? On a daily basis. We, education, neighborhoods, we have to reconstitute it on a daily basis. So then I said, hey, Ricardo, after writing all these books, hey, Ricardo, you came up into something, you stumbled onto something good, but nobody knows about it. You got to get the word out, you got to take the good news out to the people. And how? And guess what? Democracy fell on my lap. Suddenly they changed this law that I just found out, you know, in April or May. I found out that they changed the law, even though I voted for it, you know, but I had forgotten. They changed the law, and now it's single district, which means if you want to run for the district, you live there and you only do campaign in your district, you know, which is something doable for an individual person. Because before, with the at large, you had to have deep pockets, you know, or big contacts, high contacts or something. Otherwise, you really couldn't make it. Now it's different. Now the ordinary guy like me, you know, just a high school science teacher, ordinary, you know, regular, okay? Like any other guy, we can make a difference. So then I decided to run, and what I'm here is to ask you for your vote, for your support, but not just to vote and that's it. No. We got to follow through, okay? We got to follow through because we want to turn Austin into August, you know, into the light of the cities. How growth should be carried out and how citizens and how education should be, because the three make up a whole. That's what I'm all about. I'm here to bring the triads to to relearn common sense a la Socrates and unlearn it a la Plato and Aristotle, because common sense is all we need, guys, okay? Common sense, but not the corrupted version. We need the clean version, okay? The both and common sense. So I'm running for the city council. But I said, Ricardo, things don't happen overnight. People have to unlearn, you know, and learn. So then I said, well, in the last book I wrote, which is called Reconstitution from Brokenness to Wholeness by Triads, I said, I need to make little video spots on YouTube explaining each of the topics of this book. Each of the topics, make a 5-minute video on how to teach physics, how to teach science, how to teach math, social studies, how to apply it, okay, in the real world, in the city, how to apply it in religion maybe, you know, and other deeper stuff, okay. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm inviting you guys to join me so that we can reconstitute our common sense, you know, get it whole again, and that's all we need, okay, to get it going. And I'm wishing you a good day, and don't forget to vote for Ricardo. Thank you very much. Have a good day.